responsibility for
Yes.
buying tables,
Yes.
setting them up, taking them down at the end of the night.
That would be the community partner.
Yeah, that's the community partner, so that's,
They also have to pay for like some type of performance bond, I think, getting going.
there's,
They're required to carry insurance, and I wonder where the other groups that have formed this, where are they getting the money to sustain them with the requirements that they have to do? Are they just taking handouts from the people in the neighborhood, or?
there's different community partners for different projects, you know, and Linda is right to go out to Sunset to see, you know, that's the only other plaza that I'm aware of in the city of Los Angeles.
Well, and I think too, because we primarily, our communication with our stakeholders, which is about 120, whatever it is, Granada, generally speaking, really knows nothing else about the product. In other words, I don't think you can have too much plazas or pedestrian-oriented situation. I think, you know, the more the better, where it works. But I mean, I think if a lot of people knew that, the fact that we are creating 4 corner parkways that doesn't involve closing any streets, where people will be able to sit and take their dogs and walk and enjoy and have lunch and enjoy the food trucks and all that. You know, people don't know that. You know, people are completely unaware. And so that's, you know, that's just one of those situations because our job is not to be reporting to the community at large, we report to the stakeholders. But anyway.
Well, I have the community at large and stakeholders one and the same. People who own homes here.
Yeah, I mean, in other words, what I'm saying is, we report, we're responsible to the actual property stakeholders. In other words, our decisions are based on what the property stakeholders, what they vote on the community, business improvement management plan to them.
When you say property, you mean homeowners or not?
No, the
Stakeholders.
stakeholders in
This
this
is property.
Yeah.
Commercial property.
Right, they actually pay taxes that are added to their personal tax bill on each of these properties that goes specifically to the city for these improvements.
So when you say property owners, you mean commercial property?
Commercial.
Properties, they actually pay a special
In
tax.
fairness, I mean, everyone here who's actually a property owner knows, I mean, in a 5-year cycle, in the life of a bid, in the last 15 years, this person speaking for my family, we've spent $30,000-$40,000. We could have easily, maybe used that money to put a new tile roof on, put a new facade in front, do some things. But we felt that it was far better to put that money toward, quote, the common good, because that would do us more good. So it is remarkable when you think in these lean economic times, with all these for leases, that people are voting, because I think a lot of people still think that the bid money is tax money that they're paying into. It's not. It's all stakeholders that are being assessed, and so it's pretty remarkable. All right, we're going to have to get on.
And all three of us
Did
pay
you have
taxes
any,
into it.
other comments? I
Well,
appreciate
just
it.
the only thing is just my battle right now is just to get factual information. Because I've been hearing rumors that property owners are saying that this is directly going to result in a property tax increase if this cost happens.
I've heard that.
Yeah, I'm just trying to have as much factual information and accurate information available as
Well, I
possible.
think the more dialogue you have with the affected stakeholder and tenants and so forth, the better.
Yes,
Because I
and
think
we
that's- to me, that's where it starts.
And I want to just add one more thing, I'm sorry. But,
We do have to get out.
if you know, you get, you know, Jake and people that are most directly affected by this on board, then what we would rather see though is not what these people street things where they just close it off and there's asphalt, maybe painted asphalt. I mean, we're going to a lot of trouble to make landscaping and you know good, you know, pretty grounds, permanent things, you know, permanent benches that are pretty. You know, if you want tables and chairs, if you think permanent
Yeah, that's why I'd love to have you look over the city's component list. They have a.
But they won't do that on the People Street because they're not ready for the permanent things as far as I know.
It's a
They need
one-year
the other
trial.
permits.
it's a 1 year.
So one year.
So it's, you know, so first somebody's gonna spend like $1,000 on a table of chairs or $2,000. That's somebody, okay, it's possible.
There's, just for the committee's knowledge, today in Transportation Committee, they approved the first, or they preliminarily approved the first 7 People Street application projects, and I think 3 of them are plazas. So, you know,
Those today?
today and Teague, yeah. So it still has to go to full city council, but transportation, and there were some projects that weren't approved, you know. So, you know, this is an interesting program that we'll see how it develops going forward.
Well, thank you. I'm sorry.
One thing, Linda, though, I was hoping that this is besides the People Street, but just more about the bid when we get closer to starting construction on the White Oak place. Maybe in your blog, because I know you have a lot of followers, you might be able to post something about the upcoming start of the construction, kind of let people know, because we try to get the word out to all the stakeholders by an annual newsletter or a quarterly newsletter and via email, but I don't know how far that really goes. So consequently, a lot of people don't know what we're trying to do. So maybe you could, you know, put something in your blog about the bid, what the bid's all about, and what we're trying to do to improve Granada Hills.
Yeah, and maybe next time you guys are planning on voting on the proposal I'm involved in, I'd love to be invited to.
Are you on our email list?
Huh?
Are you on our email list?
No, I'm not, but, you know, like I mentioned, I emailed several times and phoned several times and didn't get any reply, so.
I'm sorry to hear that, but if you'd like to leave your email, we'll make sure it gets on the list so that you're aware of our meetings. We have meetings once a month, the last Wednesday of the month. It's been long.
Well, I know you're on our Facebook page, which has constant updates about meetings, topics, the White Oak Project. So you
Right,
can always,
Facebook is one thing, but, you know, I'm talking about a direct email and phone calls. that I
right, we
send
can add
last week.
you to the email list for the agendas and things. But I was just saying, you can always track the progress on the website and on the Facebook page. It's constantly updated with where things are.
Is that why I didn't get any emails, because that's the main manner of communication? is
No, I mean, I remember getting one email from you a long time ago.
Oh, you
So, but some people's emails get blocked, so I might have to add you to my contacts for it to come through, because for some reason some people get blocked. So I can make sure I have that. But we can talk afterwards. I can make sure I get it from you.
Okay.
I'll try to be brief, that was long.
That's right. It's good.
Hi everyone, I introduced myself earlier, I'll do it again. My name is William Kuzman. I've lived in Old Granada Hills since 1987. I've been a real estate broker in the community for 30 years. Last year I became involved in various community groups as a result of changes that are included in the Granada Hills Community Plan, which I've taken a position of opposition to for several reasons. Most of it's failure to communicate to the homeowners the changes that are being proposed. But neither here nor there, it's gotten me involved into all these different community groups that meet, leading me here to your meeting today. And I pretty much understand your stakeholders are just those people that are your businesses. I asked that question about the Brown Act situation because the Brown Act is for the public, which is everybody beyond your stakeholders. I read through a lot of your stuff, the bylaws, et cetera, and what I found is that there's no real compliance with the Brown Act posting of agendas, etc., notifications. Now, you mentioned signing up for emails on the website. I didn't see a place to sign up to be on the email list on the website.
Yeah, and I'll interrupt you. That's not true. The agendas are posted publicly on the website, on Facebook, and are emailed to the stakeholder distribution.
Again, the stakeholders are your business.
Now, the stakeholders are everybody. When we say stakeholders, the technical is but on our newsletter and agenda email, it's anyone in the public, and that list is twice as large as the stakeholder list.
Okay.
So anyone who wants to be on that can get on that distribution.
What I'm looking for, and I'm looking for this on behalf of the public and the community and the residents that live here, is better information being disseminated out to the community about the activities of this organization. When I say that, as I'm on your site and I'm looking for the first time, last night I became aware of the White Oak changes. And I was really kind of surprised that I hadn't heard about it. So there's lots that's going on in the community. I read things about outreach to the community in one of your newsletters or one of your plans about trying to get better at doing that. Again, I'd like to see better communication from this group to the public, and I'd also like to see more compliance with the time frames for posting those agendas, the locations where they are. The physical posting is supposed to be, for example, I couldn't find anywhere. So these are my concerns, and they're concerns because these are the things that allow the public to know what's going on. Like I said, really surprised that I didn't even have a clue about the White Oak project.
Well,
So
aside from us-
I don't really want back
Door to
and
door
forth.
isn't very helpful. How do you expect us to get the word out?
I really don't want back and forth. All I'm doing is bringing up a concern as a member of the public that I'd like to be able to see things done according to the procedures that are supposed to be
well,
followed.
I will answer that. I do think by nature of bids, the average person would not be aware of what they are. I mean, it's one of those things where, it's just not you think of your city councilman, you think maybe of Chamber of Commerce, you think of a service called like the Rotary. An entity like the bid is for the average person, what is that? For many of us who've been involved 15 years and giving our volunteer time to keep this going, obviously, this is what we do. I do think it raises a good point that, it's not when we say stakeholders, naturally, this entity is interested in input in various ways. But when it comes down to our responsibility is to our stakeholders. Just like a Rotary Club will be responsible to its members. I mean, you can have opinions coming from all over the place. I will say this, as far as notification and transparency and doing things that are really supposed to be done, there isn't a bid I know that even comes close to our bid that has done that. I mean, every financial report, every tax return, every set of minutes, agenda, past newsletters, is all there for everybody to see and for public viewing. So to say that what I'd like to see is be compliant, we are compliant. We're overly compliant. I will go on record saying that. Now, as far as the average person living in Port Rancho, knowing what we're doing here in Chatsworth Street and all that, I mean, I will also say this, that we have people here sitting on this board who sit on the chamber board where the bid is discussed, the Granada South Neighborhood Council, things are shared. So the information that we do here is pretty much out there. I'm not a member of the Devonshire Pals, so because I'm not aware of what they're doing, doesn't mean that they're doing something wrong or not correct. I mean, if I want to be interested in what the police department's doing and their auxiliary, it's up to me to get involved like you're doing. But I mean, I guess I just don't want to leave an impression here that people are purposely not aware of what we're doing. I mean, I don't think this bid would have been as successful as it has been with its renewals if people didn't feel like they had buy-in or had the knowledge of what was going on. That's just a personal
I
comment.
just want to add that really quick. We've had public meetings that have been posted through the chamber, the Old Granados Residence Group. We've had those meetings here, and we have like a handful of people show up. This is only about an 8-block project. That's all it is. Those are the direct people that are affected, or the businesses for these 8 blocks. But Brian has even given speeches at Old Granados Residence Group telling them what's going on. The chamber, you know, like I show up at government affairs, we tell them what's the status, so they're very aware of our problems with getting permits and things. This, you can see we have this room every month, and it's been here for a long time, and anybody that wants to know about it can do that, or send emails, or look at the website. We do not have an outreach budget that it goes beyond our 8 blocks. And we can't, because we have a very specific budget and a very specific plan that was approved by the city at the beginning of each 5-year term. And that's what we have to follow.
If I can just make
Sure.
a quick response. Really, Bonnie, I'm surprised I didn't hear it at a neighborhood council meeting over the last year and 3 months about the White Oak project, for example.
You mean South Neighborhood Council?
Granada Hills South Neighborhood
I
Council.
spoke 2 months ago at the meeting.
When?
I spoke 2 months ago at the meeting. Brian.
Was I late?
I've spoken there.
Was I late? Was I not there, Bonnie?
And I know that I mentioned it like really often.
Brian has been a guest speaker on 2 occasions. All right.
It's just, I know that the public doesn't know a lot that's going on. And my goal is, as an individual, is to do everything that I can to help our community be more informed of the activities of the agencies that do things that affect our community and how we live.
Well, if you have any suggestions on...
I have great
how-
suggestions.
Well, we would love to hear them. We don't have a lot of money to spend in that area, but if it's something free, come speak to John or myself or Bonnie or any of us, and we'll work to see if we
There are
can get
several
that
tools
done.
available for that.
Giga, hopefully, being willing to post something every once in a while about bid, just to get it out there. The chamber does.
Also, there's a consortium that of different bids that come together once a month and discuss things. Is it always in the Valley, Brian?
It's usually downtown.
We would love to have more people come. I mean, this is about it every month. We get about 2 people,
We'll
and
make our job.
our annual meeting, we get about 10, and we actually put on a nice little spread. It's all free, so,
I read about that. It sounded like a fun time.
Well, it was, yes. We had entertainment and everything.
Well, I appreciate the feedback today from Linda and William. Good points raised. Appreciate it. And I know you're working very hard. And I always admire hard work, as we all do. All right. If there are no other public comments, seeing none, Ryan?
Moving on to the bid renewal, Ed Henning is working on the engineer's report and the draft management plan. I think, if I recall, he said he thought the earliest he'd have some drafts probably July at the earliest, so I don't expect those yet. General plan, community plan updates. I have not heard anything in a long time from.
Yes.
Can't think of anything now, but
Anna. No, they're still kind of held up with the Hollywood community plan updates litigation, but the council member has put in a special kind of request to our city attorney to expedite this one. So I hope to bring this soon.
Moving on to image enhancement projects, the White Oak Parkways Improvements Project. So let's see, the funding of the loan, as far as I know, everything's done. Are they wiring it or doing it?
I would imagine you just transfer it in.
Yeah, so without me carrying on, that's happening.
I can,
Because I just got the copy of the full contract, like last Thursday.
Oh, right.
No, 2 Thursdays ago.
that you had to sign and send.
It was after I signed it.
Oh,
It was
okay.
the one that was stamped.
Okay.
I put a contract
With
number
everyone's
or whatever they
signatures.
did. Yeah, I got that copy, so I assume that means everything's done. So we do need to talk about a couple things. So let me start with status of the plans and the permit. It is my understanding, as far as I know, based on Christine's email and talking to Troy Mayor, that the revisions and changes to the plans are done. They haven't delivered them to Lee and the group downtown that need to sign off first before it goes to the field Van Nuys office for the actual stamping. The only thing we're waiting for is some drainage test results from the manufacturer of the turf, and that's what we're waiting for. So hopefully, as soon as that comes in, that'll get attached to the revised plans. Then they go to Patrick Lee and that group, get BSS and BOE downtown to sign off on the changes. Then all of that goes to Van Nuys, and then that, in conjunction with me dropping off the permit check, and then me signing the waiver of law, the waiver of damages form that they fill out and said, she said that it would be there for me to sign when I go down. So that is my understanding of where we are and what the steps are. Now, of course, there could still be additional comments, or if a revision didn't quite get right, that's always a chance. But that's where we are right now. So, fingers crossed. Now we're on the half yard.
Brian, I just want to comment, I got your email about the A permit costs, and I spoke with the council member, and in the past, like with the triangle, we've been able to supplement up to 50% of the permit costs, but it's always a check back to the organization. So I'm investigating to see if that fund is still around. We've only used it a couple times in the last 5 years. So hopefully, I mean, if it's around, we'd love to help out. I know the council member wants to help out anything you can with those costs, so.
No, that'd be great, because on a net,
So it was like 10,000.
it's 10 and something.
Is that estimated cost, by the way?
It's estimated, yeah, I don't know, but obviously true
So
up,
the final,
right, which, you know, that's great, but it comes after we pay.
yeah.
Because they have some really crazy numbers. They're estimating 80 hours of on-site inspections. I mean, that's 2 solid weeks. It sounds crazy, but I'm sure we'll get a refund just like we did from the medians project, but we got to fund the money, that's the
Yeah.
issue. So, and I think the net, because the ARPA permit ended up being a little cheaper than we had budgeted. And then obviously this permit is like 7,500 over budget. So obviously if we can get half of the 10, that helps, that goes a long way for that.
That's what we've been able to do in the past,
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
That's wonderful. Please tell me.
Let's hope the fund is still there.
So that brings us to the more pressing issue, which is due to all the plan changes through the plan check process. I received a change order from the contractor Pierre's, and the additional amount with all the changes is an additional $23,450. And we have no money for that change order. So we got to figure out how to raise funds to pay for that change order. And a lot of it's related to the turf, most of it. The turf, and I had to write it down, the major changes or what's caused the big cost things is we had to add J-rings, some matting, shock pads, odorizers. The city made us double the number of pins that pin the turf down. And they increased the subgrade from 2 inches to 4 inches, so that doubled. And they also had us add pea gravel as a layer underneath. So all of that was not the original plans, obviously. And those were the big, that's 17,000 of the 23, those items alone. And then there's some other things like changing the trim from plastic to aluminum. Some of those changes, those had cost increases. And then the concrete was another, I think the concrete one was $4,500. You know, where we had to put those pads for the benches. So anyway, I went back and looked at the budget, kind of reprojected, our monies, and at the end of the day, the revisions between, well, when I say revisions, so the change order from Pierre's plus the A permit being more than we, going over what we budgeted, that's an additional $31,320. And we have available for those additional costs 10 cents. So basically, and we all knew this. We knew our project was tight to the penny, and here's where we are. And And then I'll say this. This is before we even talk about additional fees to Troller Manor. We're $31,320 short.
Clock's not even in this.
The clock has nothing to do because we're treating that so,
Yeah.
which I have updates for, which is exciting for that. So this is where we are. Where are we going to get $32,000?
23 or 32.
Well, with the extra.
Oh, with the extra.
So if we get the 5, then it's 31 less 5, so 26.
The amount that had been budgeted before the changeover was exactly how much, Brian?
If we do the total project, the original budget is $160,000, and we were at $159,996 or something. So, one thing, I did get the LA County discretionary grant funding, whatever that thing's called. I got that in. I'm in communication with GHBID in the District 5 office. I haven't heard anything, so I don't know. And I asked for 25 to 35,000, which, oh my God, that'd be awesome if that could happen. But I don't
This is
know.
the only county potential.
And if you can't base it on something that hasn't happened, like the renewal. In other words, we can't take it, just, had we had an extra year in the cycle, you can't, funds that would be coming in, tax revenue would be coming in, assessments, can't pay for this. This has to obviously be paid with the contractor. Let me ask you this, Brian. I mean, Pierre's, I guess you can't use future assessments to pay for the shortfall.
I don't know. You mean if someone would just agree to wait to get paid?
The balance.
It's an idea. I think we have to put it on the table right now.
Is it possible to phase it, do the south side now and then do the north side when the assessment goes through?
I mean, of course it's possible. I think what you run into is,
It'll cost you.
right, the economy of scale. I mean, maybe it would be interesting. I feel like what the contractor did is you hold off on the benches. Don't buy the benches and trash cans and hold off on those. I mean, it'd be interesting. I feel like look at the numbers.
Well, that's an interesting point. If you did something like that, or if you did it diagonally, so that each side of Shasta Street would have something, that's interesting.
Because in the long range, because we were talking about proposing bump in the assessment. That's going to be hard to do if we don't have it. I think, John, you were pointing out.
Well, I think
it'd be easier to do if the project was complete.
Yeah, I mean, this is no different than 5 years ago. The bid was on the verge of, I felt, collapse because we were waiting so long to get these mediums done. We actually went through 2 cycles. It took 10 years worth of funding to get that money to mediums. So it's a matter of, good faith, hey, keep paying, it's coming. Hey, even my Italian parents like, we ain't paying anymore. We haven't seen anything. I said, it's coming. So we got the mediums done, and it just was right on the same time as the renewal came. So we kind of won it in the 9th inning. People saw it, I'm like, okay, I'm in again. I think it's obviously very vital. Poor people have heard this now for the last year and a half. It's coming. So we got to do something. Let me ask you this, Brian, not to create a whole can of worms. From what little I know of Pierre, they seem like a very good company, and they've been working with us. I mean, is